In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to make challah bread. It's only the third time I've made it, and I have adapted the very large recipe that originally called for 5 pounds of flour for half of that so that I can use my mixer. So the first thing that you need is warm water. So I have 2.5 cups here, and I'm just going to make sure that my water is not over 110, and it's at 91. 94, which is fine. If you don't have a thermometer, just make sure that it's, like warm bath water. And to that, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar and 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast. I'm just going to mix that up and let that sit and get foamy and proof for 10 minutes. So what that really means, proof, you can kind of remember it by proof that it's alive. So we want to see that the yeast is working. And I've actually read that you don't need to do this. If you check the expiration on your yeast and it's fine, that's really all that you need. But I don't want to mess with this today, so I'm going to follow the directions and I'm going to give it a good 10 minutes to get all foamy. And I'll be back in 10. Okay, my yeast has woken up from its state of inactivity and some bubbles are coming to the top. The warmth and the sugar really helped it perk up, and it is proofed and ready to go. So I'm going to put this in the bowl of my mixer, and I'm going to grab a rubber spatula to get every last bit in there. And then the next ingredients that we are going to add to this liquid mixture is tablespoons of vegetable oil. So originally it was 1 1/4 cups, so that's 20 tablespoons, so half of that is 10. All right, so I got my vegetable oil. I have 2 tablespoons of honey, and I've sprayed the bowl so that with a little cooking spray, so that comes right out. 2 small eggs. The original recipe had 3 eggs. I didn't want to do 1.5 eggs, so I tried it with 2 eggs and it was successful. I'm just making sure to use small eggs. So 2 eggs that I have just beaten with a fork. Help the mixer out. And I'm going to turn my mixer on, which is has a dough hook attached, and just give that a little stir. And the next ingredient is going to be 2.5 pounds, and you should weigh this. If you don't have a scale, they're pretty cheap, but if you don't have a scale, it's half a 5-pound bag. And you could always add a little bit more. It's not easy to add more liquid to it. You really can at that point, but you could always add a little bit more flour if it's wet. So I would say if you have to eyeball it, do a little less than you would think it would be. And I'm using bread flour because it's supposed to be a high gluten flour. So 2.5 pounds of flour, and I have half a cup of sugar. And I also have 1 tablespoon of salt, which seems like a lot, but we are really making quite a lot of bread. So the original recipe for this made like 10 loaves. It was really quite a bit. So remember, that's going to get distributed throughout. So I'm just distributing the salt and the sugar throughout. And salt always goes in with the flour because salt kills yeast. So you don't want it directly coming in contact with that yeast that we just woke up. And I'm going to remove my dough hook here so you can see. And here's my liquid mixture. And I'm going to put very carefully. It barely fits. It barely fits in my standard size mixer. Okay, and I'm going to turn my mixer on. Okay, and I'm going to knead this dough until it is smooth and elastic, adding flour as needed. And then I am going to cover it with plastic wrap, set it aside until it is doubled in bulk in a warm spot. Let's see where it's at. So that's not really elastic yet. So it's going to need some more time. and leave this in a warm place until it doubles in size, about an hour and 30 minutes. All right, so they have proofed a second time. I had them covered in plastic wrap with a little bit of spray on it because last time the plastic wrap got stuck, so I learned from that. I also did a little bit of nonstick spray on each pan because I had the sticking problem then. And I just have some beaten egg, and I'm very gently brushing the top of this. And the egg yolk is going to give it really nice color and shine, and the recipe actually says to do this twice. So I did it once before, and then I'm just giving it that second coat. And I have my oven on 350. And you have to be gentle when you put this on because it is so light and airy. So I don't want to make any punctures in it, and I don't want to deflate it in any way. See, even just that little wrinkle I made by going the wrong way. And then this is going to bake until it is deeply golden brown. And everybody's pretty familiar with what the dough should look like. But it's about 40 to 45 minutes. And I rotated mine last time. So my top one was getting a little too brown, and my bottom rack one was not getting brown enough, so I switched it. And you could cover this in some seeds. I have the Everything But the Bagel sesame seed blend from Trader Joe's. So I'm going to make one of them with that.